as much as you can, try to go back 100 years. And just put yourself, 1912, the word went out last Monday morning. Ship sank, hit the iceberg Sunday night, went down Monday at 2:20 a.m., I believe. And every day this week, the newspaper reports have been coming. At the start of last week, we were all taken aback by the news of the sinking of the English steamship Titanic, bound for America, on which more than 1,500 lives were lost in the waters of the Atlantic Ocean. I would like to encourage you to reflect on it, for I believe that just as we may not approach events such as this one out of curiosity and a thirst for sensation, nor may we disregard them in silence and indifference. Rather, events like this should speak to us, for through them God addresses us with a power and urgency that we only rarely perceive. God addresses us concerning the greatness and nothingness of human beings, who are so like God and yet so unlike Him. God addresses us concerning the judgment and the mercy of the eternal God, who reigns in us and over our destinies, sometimes close at hand and tangibly, but sometimes infinitely far away and mysteriously. God speaks in this way even through a tragedy like the one which has shocked the entire civilized world this week, and we cannot fail to hear, nor may we. Let us recall once more what we have chillingly witnessed on Wednesday, 10th April, as ship left the port of Southampton in England for the first time. A construction the like of which the world had never seen before. For decades, Germany and England have been competing to manufacture the largest, most comfortable, and quickest ocean liner. Each has overtaken the other again and again. 14 days ago, the Titanic, along with another English ship built identically, the Olympia, was now leading the field. A miracle of the modern human mind, it has been appropriately called an amphibious town. Just imagine a ship that is 3 football fields long. This is me now, not Bart. You've been to Ivor Wynne Stadium? That's the Titanic. Passengers who can pay lack none of those finer things of life which they afford themselves on dry land. And so there are on board a garden restaurant complete with trees and exotic creepers, a children's playroom, a swimming pool, sauna and whirlpools, a gallery with boutiques in which you can buy luxuries such as jewels and lace, a roller skating rink, a gymnasium, a dance hall, a fish pool for anglers, a theater, and another garden. It is like a dream world, all this refined ease and splendor, floating on top of the unfathomable depths of the ocean, propelled by engines of 46,000 horsepower. In scarcely 6 days, it was to reach New York, and the quicker the better, as the captain well knew. Every minute of speed on the journey was precious, for it was a matter of breaking the record, that is, of cutting down even more, if possible, on the time it had taken other ships to cross, so as to get there in the quickest time yet. If it succeeded, the reputation of the shipping company that owned the Titanic would soar, and more importantly, so would its shares. And the captain must have done everything he could to achieve this target. It's just that he was even too eager. For the crossing from Europe to America is not as safe as we tend to think. Cautious sailors will always cross this icy expanse with great care. Indeed, they prefer to make a detour to avoid it. But taking caution and making detours was not consistent with the Titanic breaking the speed record, and so things had to be done differently. The ship motored at full steam day and night, and it took the most direct route. And so we come to last Sunday evening. A few passengers were disturbed by a jolt that shook the entire ship, but they hardly noticed it. We hear stories of some people who calmly went on playing cards. The captain has the musicians on board strike up a merry tune. In reality, the front portion of the vessel has collided at full force with an iceberg floating underwater. The ocean is already pouring in at full force. Soon the disaster can no longer be covered up, and it is a matter of putting emergency plans into action. 2,200 people are on board, yet there are only 20 lifeboats. One is astonished to read how the crew took up positions under orders from their officers to evacuate the boat as they had been drilled, how without hesitation men allowed women and children to go ahead of them to fill the spaces that were available, how the ship's musicians kept playing to provide a sense of calm assurance, how a brave officer kept the wireless telegraph transmitter going until the last minute so as to send out a distress signal to every corner of the dark ocean. Help came, but it came too late. The nearest boat took 4 hours to arrive and could do nothing but take on board the 700 or so occupants of the lifeboats who were half dead of cold. The Titanic itself had long since disappeared into the deep. And now the Titanic and all its treasures, the wonders of its technology and design, its 7 million letters to America, and above all, its 1,500 human lives, lies buried in murky depths which have never seen a ray of light. Indeed, as Scripture says, as for man, his days are like grass, as a flower of the field, so he flourishes, for the wind passes over it, and it is gone, and its place remembers it no more. This terrible catastrophe proclaims that with an awful clarity. And so I would like to tell you clearly